Style. Gangnam Style.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the last episode of The Far Side of the World. As most of you know, I am no longer in Shanghai, China. I am currently in me and Sinette's new apartment in Chicago. I've just started working here and starting to get the apartment all nice and decorated, and I can't wait to show you guys later and tell you more about life in Chicago. In this vlog, I want to recap the last week or so in Shanghai and the fun trip we took to Chengdu before leaving China altogether. So in our last week, we took advantage of all the things we were going to miss. For example, the beautiful skyline. I can't tell you how many times we've seen it. And every time we're just blown away. There's no other city in the world that can match that skyline. And just the food, we knew we were going to really go through Chinese food withdrawals. At least there's a Chinatown here in Chicago. Gonna explore that to its fullest. But we know we ate the xiaolongbao, we had some baozi, we had lots of hot pot and Sichuan food, so we were just gorging on the last week. And I had to say bye to my colleagues at work and my friends that I've made outside of work as well, and it was really kind of sad to leave the kids. At least we left on a good note. We danced to the super famous Korean K-pop song Gangnam Style. Taught them a little number to that. You can check that out on my Facebook. So it was a good week of work, and we wrapped everything up and took a little vacation before we came back to this side of the world. Sanette and I spent 4 days in Chengdu, the major city in the Sichuan province in the southwest of China. We spent most of our time eating, which is normally the case when we travel, but we especially picked out in Sichuan because Sichuan is known for the food. And here in the US, they call it Szechuan food, but it's the same thing, just obviously a million times better over there. So we ate spicy food, not to our stomach's content, unfortunately, but oh man, it was delicious. We had some dan dan mian, we had amazing authentic hot pot. We had all kinds of spicy tofu and just, it was amazing. Everything we had was delicious. We went to the Jinli Street. It's a pedestrian area and it's beautiful at night. It's totally lit up with lanterns, full of shops and restaurants, and this whole street that's dedicated to just little stands of street food. So all these different kinds of snacks and local foods. Pretty much everything was spicy, so we would go from one stall to the next, having a little bit of everything. And actually, the Sichuan food, it's spicy, but it's not that kind of spicy that hurts you because they have a special ingredient there, which is the ma, the Sichuan peppercorn. And what it does is it numbs your tongue, so it kind of cuts back on the spiciness from the peppers, but at the same time, you feel your lips tingling and starting to swell. So here's a good example of that.
Hey everybody! So I'm in Chengdu now, a last minute little trip before coming back to the US, and right now I'm standing in the middle of the Jinli Snack Street and it's awesome. The architecture and the lanterns are beautiful, really reminiscent of old China, and the best part is the food. They have all these little shops with all these snacks, super spicy. Sanette and I just had some kebabs, some tofu crepes, what else, like pita bread with beef, and dandanyan, which is super spicy noodles with that ma spice that's specifically from Sichuan that numbs your mouth. So, whoa, super spicy. Much needed milk tea after that.
Of course, we also did some sightseeing in Chengdu. There was not too much in the city itself. The city was rather dirty, we thought, because it's almost totally under construction. But we did go to a couple of parks and a couple of the pedestrian areas, which was really nice to walk around in. We tried Tibet food one night, and that was really tasty, and that was different. It wasn't spicy, and we had yak meat. Some of you may be familiar with Chengdu, not for its food, but for its pandas. And no, you cannot eat the pandas. We went to the Chengdu Panda Research Base, and we spent hours watching the pandas eat their bamboo for breakfast, watching them trying to climb trees, and It was amazing. I never seen a panda in person, and they really look like stuffed animals. And in this research center, they let you be really close to them. You can even hold one. You may have heard that you can do this. This is the only place in the world where you can hold a panda, but it's for a price, a hefty price. $200 for less than 2 minutes of panda snuggling. But let me tell you guys, it's totally worth it. Once in a lifetime experience. These pandas are big, but they're so warm and soft and squishy and I wish I could take it home with me. But alas, I just had to settle for a panda magnet.
So this panda is stuck on top of the other panda. Came down from the branch on top. Oh, they're playing now. Play fighting. They love each other. Looks kind of cozy. And there's one more on the way up top. Made it past them. Bye bye. Oh. There's Sinette holding the big panda, chewing on some apples. He's heavy and soft.
During our last full day in Chengdu, we ventured outside of the city. We took a train to the Qingcheng mountain, which is a famous Taoist mountain. It has a bunch of temples on the hike up towards the pagoda, which is at the peak. It was nice to get out of the busyness of the city and to be surrounded by nature and trees. And once you got to the top, the view was very rewarding.
Okay, Kucha here, reporting to you from the top of Mount Qingcheng, outside of Chengdu. As you can tell by my appearance, it has not been a simple hike. Sinette and I walked up to an altitude of about 1,300 meters. So it was pretty tiring. Along the way we got to see some nice temples, beautiful, beautiful landscape, as you can see right here. We did it!
So yeah, after Chengdu, we flew back to Shanghai and spent one last night with Sinette's family, one last night of eating Chinese food, and then we flew not to the US, but to Montreal. So that was a really nice kind of pit stop, you know, a good transition, Shanghai, Montreal, Harlan, Wisconsin. But now we're in Chicago, so it's good. But anyways, it was the first time for Sinette to meet the majority of my family and to get to know my hometown of Montreal. So he was bombarded with the bachi and Italian food. Like, he couldn't believe all the food he was eating. And one night we even taught the whole family how to make Chinese dumplings. Sinette's grandma and Xian would have been really proud. And Sinette got on my grandma's good graces, cooking up a storm in the kitchen. And they were very impressed. Everybody loved Sinette, which makes me really happy, of course. And then we drove to Michigan for a family wedding on my dad's side, which was also really fun. And I got to wear my qipao that I had tailor-made in China. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this blog, now our adventures have taken us to Chicago. So I haven't decided yet if I'm going to continue blogging. I'm definitely going to continue taking photos of food, because that's awesome. And I can't wait for Sinette to join me. He's in Minneapolis right now, but he'll be coming here, moving in on Sunday. So I think we'll keep you guys posted on the life of Erica and Sinette. I think so. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to the China episodes. I hope you enjoyed all of our stories and you learned something. I could not have asked for a better experience in China. I was really blown away by Shanghai as a city and by Chinese culture in general. I'm so happy that I got to experience something that is part of Sunet's culture. And I got to meet so much of his family while there too. We can't wait to go back to Shanghai to visit and to explore more parts of China and hopefully other areas of Asia. I highly recommend that you go check out China for yourselves. 再见.